Feed is the biggest expense in poultry business, and therefore you need to know how much to give and when to give. So as someone that is starting from scratch, I decided to make a template that would help me to get the exact amount of feed that I need at every single stage. Hello everyone, this is Martin and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Poultry Business with Martin. So if you've seen my previous video, I'm about to start poultry business with layers 340 day-old chicks. At the moment, I'm still making my full budget, but instead of waiting, I decided to make a template that would help me get the exact amount of feed that I need at every single stage. Yes, so this is the template I was talking about. This is a template that I made from scratch, of course, with reference from Novatech from their website and also Hybrid from their website. So I've named it the layers feed and cost guide. So it starts with the number of chicks. So you can change the number of chicks that you are working with. For example, you can put 240 here. So just notice how the numbers are changing. We can have this cell here as our reference. So on 240, we have 18.5. So let's put back the 340. We see how it changes. So we now have 26.2. So what that means is that you need to input the number of beds that you are working with, then the template will adjust according to that. So we have age in weeks from 1 to 104. So I'd put the 104 there. I know it is still debatable whether layers can go that far, but with good management, I've seen with the little research that I've done that actually it can go up to that much. And remember, just like I mentioned in my first video, to say I'm not an expert at this, but I've just done some little research, hoping that it is what I'll be able to implement in this project. So from 1 to 104. Then at every stage in every week, there is a type of feed that the birds are supposed to be fed. So for example, from week 1 to week 3, we have broiler starter crumbles, and it goes on until we have the layer mash. So again, we have the feed per bed per day, and it is in grams. Simply means if you have 300, for example, one chick is supposed to eat only 11 grams in their first week. But remember, there is a time where we refer to as feeding the chicks ad libitum. It simply means let the chicks eat as much as they can. You don't regulate their feed. So at this time, even when it is saying it is 11 grams, it is just a guide to help you measure how much the chicks might need at that time. So it goes on, it keeps on increasing until we reach the 115. Though some research is saying it has to be 120, but that is still debatable, and it is something that you can adjust when you see the production is not that much. So if you multiply, this one is based on the number of beds. For example, if you have 340 chicks, day-old chicks in their first week, approximately somewhere 3.7 kgs is what they will be taking. And remember, for day-old chicks, this part is not applicable. We don't put in the morning and afternoon. You let them eat as much as they can. Meaning cumulatively, in the first week they will eat 26.2 kgs. Then it keeps on increasing because it is a cumulative figure. So the other part that I had hidden is where you don't want to buy the already mixed feed, but you decide to get a concentrate and maize. You grind it using a 10mm sieve, or the alternative is you grinding it as roller mill, and also maize bran. So this is where the same way we have, for example, you get juice. Juice, it needs to be diluted, so it is more concentrated. That is the same principle with the concentrate. So for example, it depends on what you want to make. For example, if you want to make, of course you can't make the broiler starter crumbles, but you can make the pullet grower mash. So meaning it is the 3.3% of each of the concentrate, the maize, and the maize bran. So this is where you mix for yourself, and this one is giving you what you need individually in terms of kilograms. So this other part just shows us the feed summary. For example, for you to rear 340 beds, you need from 0 to 3 weeks, you need 130.9 kgs of broiler starter crumbles. So this is just a summary. And again, from 4 to 8 weeks, remember this is where we are giving pullet grower mash. You need 4 to 8 weeks. And it goes all the way to the layer mash. And the other part is just telling us how much of those that we need to get. Remember, most of these commodities come in 50 kg packaging. So for example, even when you need 130.9, you can't get the 0.9, for example. So when you round it off, you divide by 50 and you round it up, it gives you the 3 bags that you need for you to rear the 340 beds. So even here, for example, if we just change here, we put a 200, you notice that even here it changes. Everything is linked to this cell here. So when you put back the 340, everything goes back to normal. And remember, I've protected this sheet. You can only adjust this part and also this part for the price of the 50 kgs where we are now going. So this is just telling you how much you need. For example, this 3 is the one that is coming from here. So 3 times the 749, this is the current price for broiler starter crumbles. It gives you what you need. So remember, I'm using Zambian kwacha, but you can always change, and depending on what you're working with. Currently, $1 is equivalent to about 19.6, close to 20 kwacha. So $1 is equivalent to 19 to 20 kwacha, somewhere there. So the cost of feed required at stages. So this one tells you now, in case you are planning of starting layers, like in my case, remember, like I always tell you, I'm still in the planning phase. And I hope I get to implement what I'm planning. And that's why I would want you guys to go with me on this journey and be part of the journey. So the broiler starter crumbles from 0 to 3 weeks. This is what you need in terms of kwacha. And it keeps on increasing cumulatively. So meaning for you to be able to rear these birds from 0 to 20 weeks, what you need is a 26,977 Zambian kwacha, and it goes all the way to the last figure there. Then the content again, cost per kg. So this one, I made this one because I just wanted to have a comparison between what I'm making with the concentrate and also the one that is readily available. So for example, the broiler starter crumbles, it's straightforward. It is just 14.9. You just divide this one by 50, then it gives you what you need per kg. But for this one, remember, it is coming as a result of the mixture, the concentrate, the maize meal, and the maize bran. So this is the amount. So it is important. I might just add another cell here where we have the actual pre-mixed prices so that you get to compare. Is it necessary for you to get individual contents and mix, or you just buy the already made feed? So this is about that. The last part again is just on the profit margin. So this one gives you how much you are expecting. You just come here, you input the number of eggs that you could have collected, and remember, it is still linked to the 340 that we had there. So for example, if you collect 300 eggs per day from the 340 layers, it simply means you are at 88.2%. That translates to the number of trays that you have, which is 10, because a tray holds 30 eggs. Then if you're sitting at 95 kwacha per tray, meaning what you are going to make is 950 kwacha. The cost, remember, this is still linked to the same 340 and also those prices that you saw there. So you are spending about 323.67. 303 kwacha, 67 ingwe. So the contingency there, it is just something that I thought of putting there. It is 190 kwacha. Then the net profit is 436. So this one is only for feed. But remember, there might be other costs depending on the stage that you might need to work on as well. So just like I mentioned in my previous video, I am still learning, and as I go, I might need to adjust the template. But I believe starting with a plan is better for me, as it will help me stay organized. If you would like me to share this template or maybe to explain it in details, please do let me know in the comment section. And if you're interested in poultry business, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and comment, and just get with me on this wonderful journey. This is Poultry Business with Martin. See you in my next video.